does the phrase "disability isn't a dirty word" mean to you?
Okay, well, thanks, Amy, for asking me these questions. So for me, it means that as a disabled woman, that I am perfect just the way I am, and that I suppose the message that I hope that the campaign expresses to people who are questioning their impairment is to have that pride in themselves, and to have that self-love, and to know that who they are and how we all are as women and men and adults and children with their impairments, that we are exactly who we're meant to be. And I suppose particularly for people who have acquired their impairment and probably feel a lot of trauma, you know, that we are here for you, and that, you know, of course, that not to see it, and that the barriers that you might experience are a consequence of society not including you. And sometimes that is what impacts people and maybe makes people question themselves around, am I the problem? So I suppose my message is that it's a beautiful word, that we're absolutely gorgeous human beings. And I think society would be lacking if it wasn't for the mixture and the uniqueness and the challenge that's society and decision makers are placed with in ensuring that we are universally included in everything.
What does it mean to you to identify as a disabled woman?
Yeah, it's very important to me to identify as a disabled woman. Why? So because I suppose I am very committed to the human rights model of disability, and indeed the social model and all of its developments and nuances, and it does help to understand the difference between me and my impairment, and me as a disabled person, and separating my impairment from the barriers that I experience. And also though my gender, I love my gender. I love the relationship that it allows me to have with men and women and all people who identify and experience their sexuality in different ways. And I would hope that how I use my gender in a way that actually complements other people, and that within that I actually have respect and regard for actually how people experience their gender. And that's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I actually understand my limitations of my knowledge and my ignorance. So myself to be vulnerable about that and to learn more about others, because my gender is important to me. And I suppose within that though, I do recognize the double glass ceiling that comes with being a disabled woman, and appreciating that, but also even at the ripe old age of 48, I suppose there are times when I do slip into, you know, am I not expressing myself correctly, for which I presume I'm not all the time, but to really understand that being a disabled woman, that there are societal and systemic barriers that actually limit and maybe how I succeed in different aspects, whether it's socially, economically, or politically. And that always helps me to have my self-esteem, my self-worth, but more importantly, to have empathy and connection with other disabled people, men and women, non-binary and others, children and older people. And I suppose that's something, the more I age, that's something that I suppose I'm very mindful of, older disabled women, and how we ensure that their voice is not trebly, I suppose, experiencing inequality. And, you know, that as people have other identities, that it's an expression of pride rather than an expression of challenge and difficulties.